let's get our acceleration. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're gonna be going over a 2021 Ram 3500 Bighorn dually. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to the Dodge Ram here in Provo for giving me some time with this truck. Check out the inventory in the link below. Let's get straight into the video. Under the hood of this Bighorn, we have the 6.7 liter Cummins diesel that's paired to the 6-speed automatic known as the 68 RFE. So with that combination, the power outputs are 370 horsepower and then 850 pound-feet of torque. And this one does have 410 gears. Now let's go over the front end of this Bighorn 3500. So first and foremost, you guys will notice that we've got the 3500 heavy duty badge right there. And then the Bighorn does come standard with the halogen bulbs here at the front. And then you got the fog lights just down below with your parking sensors integrated in the front bumper. And then you've got the blacked out tow hooks. And then notice that the grille is also blacked out with the slits, but then you've got like the Ram logo and a bunch of it finished in chrome. And then you guys can see there at the top of the cab, you do have the cab lights that come standard with the dually trucks. But other than that, that is the front end on the Bighorn. Now coming around the side here, we've got two 35mm tires wrapped around 17-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear, which is pretty typical for most dualies to have a little bit smaller for the tire and wheel size. And then here's a quick look at the front suspension here with the truck. And then since this is a 3500, it does come with the leaf springs. And then you guys can see you've got the Cummins badge right there. You've got the Ram badge as well. And then this does come with the trailer tow mirrors, which do flip up, obviously adds some visibility. And then this truck is finished in hydro blue, but here is a full side view on the 3500. Now to actually go over the bed of the Bighorn, so first off, you can see it already has a bed liner from the factory and also has the fifth wheel prep group as well. LED bed lights here in the back, and then you got the cargo light along with that there. And then you do have all the plugins for the fifth wheel on top of that. And then if you're wondering, the dualies do come with the longer bed as standard, and then the payload capacity is about 5,500 pounds. Let's go over the rest of the rear end of the 3500 Bighorn. So first and foremost, you guys will notice that we've got these full LED lights here in the back, and then you've got all the regular badging there finished in chrome, and then you've got the chrome bumper with the parking sensors just down below. And then this truck does come with the kick step, so all you got to do is just put your foot in, kick it out, and hence the name kick step. And then when you are done with it, you just have to literally kick it back in and then it'll pop into place. Now, if you guys are running on towing capacity, this truck is good for about 21,000 pounds for the towing capacity because it has the 68 RFE with the Cummins and then 410 gears at the rear. Let's go over the door panel here at the rear. So you guys can see that you've got the nice black trim there at the top with the cloth trim just down below, and then you've got the leather with the stitching all across. And then since this is the Bighorn, it does come with the cloth seats. So you've got the gray cloth all throughout the seats, and then a little bit darker gray here on the bottom portion. And then if we push that all to the side, got some extra storage underneath the seats, and then there's these little trays that fold out flat, which is nice. And then just underneath these rubber floor mats, well, if it wants to pop up, we've got some ice buckets. You guys know what those are all about. You've seen them in a million Ram trucks, but let's actually pop in. So stepping in, got to step up pretty high because there's no side steps. I'm 5'11". Here is my legroom, and then there's all the vents there at the bottom. And then finally, we do have some cup holders, which pull out, and I mean, pretty normal. It's also an armrest as well. But that's the back of the Bighorn. Now let's go to the front door panel of the Bighorn. So again, you've got the nice black trim with the cloth down below and then the leather with the stitching. All of our window controls are right here, and then the mirrors do power fold in. So you just press that little button, and then the trailer mirrors will power fold in, and then I guess you get to see my reflection. So hello guys. Anyways, coming to the seats here at the front, again, full cloth seats here. You've got the darker gray on the outside portion of them. You've got the adjustments here on the side of the seat. They are power adjustable here for the front seats. And then you got the pedal layout just down below. Light controls up here with your cargo light and then your fog light. And then you've got the pedal adjustments on the side of the steering wheel with the steering wheel adjustment just down below. And there's one more look before we actually pop in. Here's the steering wheel with the Bighorn. If we look on the outside portion of the steering wheel, we've got soft touch leather all around the steering wheel. And then zooming in, we've got our controls here for the cruise control. We've got our gear limiter there on the side. And then coming over here, we've got our controls for the center stack and your voice command controls as well. There are radio controls that are located just on the back portion of the steering wheel. And then you got little stock for the turn signal and the windshield wipers as well. And then this does come with the column shifter. So if you guys are sick of the dial shifters, well, got a column shifter here in the heavy duty, but that is the steering wheel on the Bighorn. Now here is the gauge cluster with the Bighorn. You can see that you've got the RPMs and then the speed over on either side, and they're in analog format. And then you do have that screen there in the center that gives you different bits of vehicle information. Probably you'll look at the fuel economy. Obviously with this truck, especially, well, hopefully you're gonna tow with it. I think it'd be funny for someone to buy a dually and not tow with it. But yeah, pretty straightforward, not too crazy. Obviously the screen like the Laramie or the Limited is a little bit nicer, but I mean, this gets the job done. Now here's the center infotainment system for the Bighorn. So first and foremost, you guys can see that the response time on the screen is really solid, even though it has a little plastic covering on it. Still responds to my touch really well. You can see I've got all of your regular functions on it, and then this does come with heated seats and heated steering wheel, and then you do have a backup camera that does have the little zoom function, which is a nice little thing. The trajectory lines do turn with the steering wheel, and resolution on it's just really solid, just as like an overall piece. But yeah, other than that, it's a really good infotainment system. I know some people like the 12-inch display. I prefer this because you still get analog buttons just down below the screen. Speaking of down below the screen, you can see that we've got our analog controls here for the radio, your analog climate controls. It is just a single zone climate in this truck, and then again, heated seats, heated steering wheel. You've got our parking sensor buttons right here. You've got your tow haul mode, your diesel exhaust brake, your trailer brakes are integrated over here. And then you can see you've got your drive line select, so you got your 2-wheel high, your 4-wheel high, your 4-wheel low, and then your true neutral. And that's kind of like all in that little area, but yeah, that's that whole center stack. We do have the bench seat / center console. So you got leather at the top, and then you got a coin holder and then a USB in there. Some cup holders here in the top portion. Lifting it up, it's just a middle bench seat, and then there is some storage underneath here with the Bighorn package. And then coming down below here, we do have the little storage tray here in the front for some extra storage. And then you can see there you've got some extra USB, auxiliary, all that kind of stuff in that little area. And then since this is a Bighorn, you do get the dual glove box with coverings over each of them, and then it says Bighorn on the outside of that little glove box, and then you got more black trim here at the top portion with another 12 volt. Up top here we do have a sunglass holder in the truck, and then you got your light controls. Just press those little buttons and then those will pop them on. No sunroof or anything like that, but most people buying this truck probably don't want a sunroof. And then no power sliding window, it's just fixed rear glass, and then it is a darker colored headliner with the truck. Well, now that we're done going over the interior on this Bighorn 3500, let's quickly get into the pricing. So in terms of pricing, this Bighorn 3500, again, with the 68 RFE 410 gears, all the equipment that it has, oh yeah, and the Cummins, forgot to mention that. Stickers for about $65,000 before you type of market adjustment. That all being said, let's take this Bighorn out and see how it drives. Talk about visibility before we set off here in this 3500 Bighorn. You guys can see visibility of the hood. It's the same as any other heavy duty Ram. And then here's your visibility through both the mirrors, and they do have blind spot monitoring. That's why this truck does have the LED lights in the back, if you guys are wondering. And then here's your visibility all throughout the rest of the rear. So for a truck, pretty solid. And you guys can see, hopefully you can see in the mirrors, it's really easy to see the bulges. And we'll kind of talk about driving a dually once we actually set off. But let's set off. So we're initially setting off in the Bighorn 3500, and I want to mess with you guys' head. So like, you can turn the backup camera on at any point. So like, it kind of looks funny because obviously we see it the backwards view of the truck. It's I don't know, most truck manufacturers, like, they make it so you cannot do that, but Ram allows you to do that, which I love. I hate it when you can't turn on like any sort of camera at a certain speed because it's just annoying and it makes the vehicle less usable. But getting up and going, tons of torque. You can definitely feel just massive amounts of torque. But let's talk about the road noise and the ride quality. So from a ride quality perspective, for being a 3500 and being a dually, this actually rides pretty smooth. I drove an F450 yesterday. Haven't posted that video yet as of me filming this video. But driving that F450, it drove a lot rougher than this. Obviously that truck had crazy off-road tires and all that kind of stuff. You guys will see the video. So they're not the most comparable trucks, but it's just interesting to feel how this drives a lot smoother. And in terms of like being a dually, yes, it's a big truck. It's got an 8-foot bed, and it's just a big vehicle in general. And obviously it's got the really wide hips. but it's not too difficult to drive. Now, this is coming from someone who dailies a Raptor, and obviously that is a little bit of a wider vehicle, but it's not as wide as this truck, and it's not as long as this truck either. And so I still obviously have to get used to this truck, but it's not hard at all. And so if you're not accustomed to driving a truck, then yes, this is gonna feel massive. But if you're used to driving at least a half ton, then this is gonna feel a little bit bigger, but it's not gonna be too difficult. It's something that you can get used to pretty easily. In terms of the brakes, they're good. You definitely have to push into the pedal though, so just kind of understand that with your driving habits and everything, that you are gonna have to put quite a bit of force into the pedal. Man, I should film more videos on holidays because there's nobody on the road. I love this. Okay, let's get our acceleration. And the fuel light pops on. Maybe that'll be indicative of ownership experience with this truck. But anyways, the acceleration is good. Obviously, it'll be exciting for us to be able to try out the 6-speed Aisin with the 1,000 pound-feet of torque in the dually to kind of see how that differs from this. But this accelerates good enough. It's not crazy quick or anything like that, like a truck with the Aisin is, but it's still quick enough. And it, from a towing capacity perspective, it's got so much low-end torque that it would get up and moving very well with a trailer. But that'll actually get me some things up with this truck. So this is kind of an interesting truck. So I know a lot of people might look at this truck and they won't understand it because they're going to be like, why the heck would you buy a dually and not have the maximum towing capacity? Why is this truck not able to tow at least 30,000 pounds? That doesn't make sense. This truck's worthless. I get the comments, but here's the deal. This is the type of truck that you get if you want to get a little bit better fuel economy compared to the high output. It's going to be a little bit better, not a huge amount better, but also if you want to save some money. This is going to save you a couple $1,000s compared to the high output engine. And the biggest thing that this truck is used for is if you're someone who needs a truck that has more stability, aka the dually, but you don't need the massive towing capacity. There's a lot of people that have really long trailers nowadays that you need more stability that a dually provides, but you don't need, you know, the 30,000 plus towing capacity. Maybe the trailer's only 10,000 pounds, or maybe it's, you know, 15,000 pounds, but it's really long. And having the added stability of a dually is going to help out, and that's where this truck's really going to come to use if that's what you're looking for. There's a lot of people that I see that are towing trailers with single rear wheel trucks that really shouldn't be, because that truck doesn't have the stability that they need for the length of trailer they're towing. And so that's what I'd look into depending on your trailer, and that's where this truck's going to be used for. I know a lot of people might not understand it, but that's why you'd have a truck with this configuration, is so you can, you know, tow those longer trailers and you don't need the max towing package. And that's it for this Bighorn dually. Now, that is going to sum things up for our video on this 2021 Ram 3500 Bighorn dually. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Dodge Ram here in Provo for giving me some time with the Bighorn. Check out their inventory in the link below. I'll see all of you in that next video.